this is a fact that I really hate about myself. I was born in the south of England, in a town called Weston-super-Mare, which is it's like the Scarborough of the southwest, and it's a fucking shithole. I've only been back there twice since I left when I was like, I don't know, 6 months old. And the reason I was born there is that my dad was in the Merchant Navy in the 60s, so he basically went around the world like on the ships, and he had a fiancée in every port. And my mum was the one that got lucky. So I arrived as a result of that little coastal fraternation going on. So I stayed down in the south for like 6-7 months, and then moved back up north where my dad was from. So his family's from Teesside area originally.
Right, okay. So you got no memories, obviously, of it down there then?
No. I mean, as I said, I went back, when I lived in Southampton, we went back there for a day trip. We thought, we'll stay in a B&B, just have make a night of it. It was like a 3-hour trip from Southampton. We got there, it was full of brummies and fucking stank. We thought, yes, we're going home again.
And then, so it was Teesside?
Yeah, my dad's family's from Teesside, so that's like the Middlesbrough connection. So they're all like, they're not massive football fans, but anyone that is a football fan in my family is a Borough fan.
Did your mum mind moving up north?
I think she regretted it when they split up when I was about 7, but I think she's got a funny mixture of like Bristolian and Northeast now, so it's a bit fucking weird to think there. Yeah, she's all right.
Yeah, I found out recently that my granddad was from Lancashire, and I felt part of my heritage was being taken away because he married a Cockney as well.
Yeah,
can't
be admitting that, mate.
I know, but at least we still know where Teesside is part of Yorkshire. At least we're doing well. Sorry, not Teesside. Middlesbrough is part of Yorkshire, so.
Yeah, obviously north of the Tees isn't part of York, but south of the Tees. Tony Mowbray. So he was the Borough captain from about 84 to the late 80s, early 90s, and that was when I was just kind of getting conscious of football. Like, so I was born in 74, so I was like 10, 11, around that sort of age. And it was different in those days because you didn't have like wall-to-wall football all over the telly. So you weren't exposed to a very small amount of football news and football kind of personalities. There wasn't the kind of cult status around everyone as there is now. So in the Northeast, you've got like 5 minutes on a Tuesday night on Tyne Tees TV. And that was it. That was all your football knowledge. And Tony Mowbray was like the symbol of Middlesbrough at that time. So we were going through like massive financial problems and was on the verge of bankruptcy. We actually folded in 1986. But he was the captain, and he kind of pulled the team through from administration, training on the town park, playing at Hartlepool when the gates at Ayresome Park were closed, administrated, and then from the Division 3 back to Division 1, or the top tier as it was at the time. And he was just a fucking hero. He was like hard as nails. Wasn't the most talented player in the world, but he was a leader of men. Just shone as a guy who was like in charge of that team. And he also had the fantastic quiff, lovely blonde. I remember I took a picture of him from Shoot magazine or something. I took a picture to the barbers, and I've always been fairly thin-haired myself. Not this bad, but never been like greatly blessed or very hirsute. And I took a picture to the barbers, and I said, "Can I have one of them?" And he looked at me and went, "I'll do my best, son." I would say it's another Middlesbrough lad, Johnny's Wonder Strike. So this was I don't know who was playing at that game, but it's maybe 2 years ago. It was one of those games where it's just been really, really close all through the game. It was like goal for goal. It's got really, really tense. Every now and again you get one of those tense games where you're not quite sure who's going to win, and no one's ever gone more than 2 goals ahead.
Yeah. And
it was just coming down to the last couple of minutes, and it's like literally the next goal's a minute. And Johnny, I think it was like a little half volley from well, every time I think about it, it gets 10 yards further back. So currently it's about 150 yards away. Struck it, some corner, perler, and the whole everyone on that team was fucking mental.
I'd agree. Yeah. I think for a sort of pure sporting moment, people got caught up in it because it was just like a genuine football moment as opposed to something daft.
Yeah. It was just like pure, unbridled football joy. A non-footballing memory would be a more recent one, which was Hursty's Walk of Shame. which was when Hursty was an outcast in the wilderness. we were hanging about outside the pitch waiting to go on, and we went around, but Hursty's here. He's playing on a different pitch. And of course, he had to walk past us to get to his pitch, didn't he? So we all gave him the clap as he thought, he'll be back.
Yeah.
This is the professional question, isn't it? I've got to be careful here because this is going to so I could say stuff that would get me sacked. I'd say, well, I think first off, you've got to remember that Leeds City Council is quite an old institution. So you look around the city, you've got like the Town Hall and Kirkgate Market and the Corn Exchange. They're all like products of the council. So, great examples of civic-minded, entrepreneurial grandeur, don't mind. But I guess more recently, I'd say the arena is probably the best development. I mean, it's questionable, isn't it? It's nice at night, but during the day, it looks like a public toilet. But what it's done for the city is it's just fantastic. It was done directly by the council as well. So, it was in the spirit of those buildings I mentioned earlier. It's very entrepreneurial way of getting stuff done. Reasonably cheap as well. Being like in the top 10 performing arenas in the world. So,
really?
In true Leeds style, when on the opening night when Bruce Springsteen opened, one of his trucks got a parking ticket. So, well, there's tons. I mean, it's a great place to go cycling, which I do quite a lot now. But anything around kind of Ilkley and Otley, that sort of way, there's loads of good challenging hills. You can't really say you've been a cyclist in Yorkshire unless you've done the Cow and Calf and the Chevron and hills like that. Pretty punishing, but good once you're at the top, good view. Have a stop.
Yeah. Has that been your main? Have you been exercising on the road now while this has been going on?
Yeah. But it's been really good for exercise, I think, this lockdown. Like, you've got, well, until recently, you've got one chance to do something. So, you put your effort and focus on getting out there and making the best of it. So, yeah, I've been getting out. It's been good.
How's the knee?
Yeah, it's all right. I can cycle, obviously. I've just started trying to do a bit of running again, which is going okay. I was hopeful I was going to have an operation by now, but obviously some dickhead hit a bat in China and all this fucking shite's going on.
What's the operation for then?
So I've got to get my anterior cruciate ligament replaced, which basically means taking your hamstring and reconstructing it. And I've got to get my meniscus replaced as well because that's disappearing. So I can live without a cruciate, but I could never play football again. But I could do most other things. But I can't live without a meniscus because I'll probably get arthritis in about 5 years.
So you think football days are done then?
Well, I don't know. It depends how long this lockdown goes on and when hospital waiting lists come back and whether I get back in for an operation. And the operation is potentially kind of 6 to 7 months of recuperation. So,
did Ed actually nobble you or not?
Did he nobble? To be honest, I don't know what happened. It was just like a standard coming together tackle. I don't think it was anything bad. It was just a freakish angle, a freakish kind of dynamic. One of those things.
Yeah. Did you carry on then? Did you go in net or go home?
I tried to play for a bit after, didn't I? And I was hobbling around.
I wasn't there that game.
I went in the net and I couldn't move. And then I wandered off, got in the car, and I drove about 15 miles an hour all the way home. So I just couldn't put the accelerator down. Well, I had to think about this. And, I don't want to big him up too much, but it's got to be the gaffer, Big Dan. I think anything like Monday night needs someone to kind of organise it and give it that kind of heart and soul. People slag him off and he rides with it, but he puts a lot of effort in. I like the mythology he creates around the whole thing, the nicknames, the legends. He's really good at kind of just creating that whole kind of cultural thing around it, which I think is just great. And any gang of footballers needs that. So yeah, it's Big Dan.
I think you find that trying to organise this many people, the dropouts, the drop-ins, especially on a Monday, it's a lot of hard work.
It is. And I think he secretly likes all this as well. He gives them all that attention.
Yeah, it's probably the most active WhatsApp group I'm in.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
there's times where it's just going off and off. You know, there's good banter in there. Yeah, and because it is a good bunch of lads.
Yeah, it's certainly the most filth.
I'm not sure about
that. Yeah, it's more about you than about me, though. The best place I've ever been is probably Rome. Went there with my wife, 10, 11 years ago now. About 5 days, absolutely loved it, just blown away. Just the layers of history, the stories, the antiquities, the culture, the food, the art, the people, the drink, just everything about it's just absolutely stunning. It's one of those places where you're walking around and thinking, you just remember suddenly, I'm not just in Rome, the capital of Italy. I'm in Rome, the capital of Rome. Like, yeah. Fucking Rome, amazing, absolutely stunning place. And the weather's great, of course, depending on what time of year you go. And to be honest, I like anywhere in Italy. Venice is equally good, but Rome's just stunning. Theirs wasn't enough.
Did you enjoy crossing the roads?
Well, that's quite interesting. Yeah, it's like there's no real carriageways or lanes. There's no discipline, and there's about 500 scooters that you've got to kind of. A lot of people, like, a lot of people, but, you know.
I don't think there's a single car in Rome that hasn't got a dent in it.
Yeah. Interesting. I almost got killed in Rome. We were in like some dodgy neighbourhood, and someone threw a plant pot at us from the balcony about 5 floors up. Shouted something really like angry. I don't know, probably about Brexit or something. I don't know, but yeah, it just missed us by about a yard. This fucking plant pot just smashed. Worst. So I asked the wife about this, and we both unanimously came up with this almost immediately. Luton. Luton's like the Middlesbrough of the south of England, right? We had staying in a hotel there for a wedding in some like nearby nice place where we couldn't get a hotel room, so I had to go to Luton. And we were just, it is like, the worst bit of the north of England down south. Absolutely awful place. I've got vivid memories of how bad it was. Just terrible, absolutely terrible. I mean, as I say, it's like Middlesbrough. I mean, Middlesbrough's awful, I know that. But Luton, oh, Jesus. Oh, 1990. I mean, in 1990, everyone's favourite World Cup? Surely.
I don't know. I really enjoyed Russia.
Well, yeah. I think most World Cups after that were a bit of a blur for me, because I think, obviously, we didn't qualify for, was it 94 in USA? So that had less interest as an England fan, obviously. And around about 98, I just started getting very disillusioned with the England football team, because it's full of like really talented, good players, but just could not play together as a team, could they? So 90 was like the zenith of, there's a real togetherness in the squad. You had some fantastically talented players. I guess it was before all the kind of the media kickoff around football. I suppose it started, didn't it? The whole Gaza and his tears thing. So it felt like still like a pure footballing World Cup. And I was kind of 15, 16 at the time, so it was right in my slot in terms of being influenced emotionally by it. And just, the whole thing about Gaza was just absolutely incredible. He was just superb. I mean, he's probably my favourite footballer ever, to be honest. He's just, obviously, he didn't meet his potential by a long stretch because of his personal problems. But that said, he was still fucking brilliant. And that World Cup, I remember thinking, God, we've got probably another 4 or 5 World Cups of Gaza. How good is that as an England fan? And of course, it didn't work out that way. But yeah, I thought he was an astonishing player.
With the ball at his feet, I don't think we've had many people as good as him.
No, not at all.
I don't think you could play football like he did now, with the kind of the chest out, the way he kind of hand people off.
Well, he was just like that all the time, wasn't he, with his elbows? He'd have fitted in Monday Night Football. Yeah, that was a good year, and I think it's probably the first and last time. Well, not the last time. First time I cried at a football result as well. I mean, that semi-final was just utterly, for a 15-year-old hormonal young girl, that was just heartbreaking.
Did you see the Gaza documentary?
No, I've not actually. Is that on Netflix or something?
I think it is, yeah. Maybe Amazon Prime. It's on one of the streaming ones. It's quite good. I think it's a few years old. There's one of my favourite scenes where They interview him just after the Arsenal-Tottenham semi-final at Wembley, after he scored that free kick. And you can just see how much he's buzzing. Like the commentator, the interviewer is just like, "Do you have a good game?" And he's just buzzing off football and so enthusiastic. And
a contrast at the other end. That's a bit of a fairy tale, really.
Happy, so happy. Couldn't sleep last night. I had to have a couple of injections because I was stupid. But I had a couple of injections because I couldn't sleep. So nervous. I'm happy. I'm now away to get me shoot measured. Yes!
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
There's another really funny quote where Jack Charlton went to manage Newcastle. I think it might have been he was still young, first or second season when he came through. And the coach says to him, Jackie Charlton says, "How long's your contract?" "Oh, it's 2 years, gaffer. You got 2 weeks, you fat bastard, lose some weight."
I was just 5 Live at the weekend and on Saturday, and Brian Robson was being interviewed, and he confirmed this story that some people thought wasn't true, but it was about when Gaza stole the team bus at Middlesbrough. They'd all like waiting for the bus to turn to an away game, and it was parked outside the gates, and Gaza had seen it, and he liked the look of it, and apparently it was very shiny and it smelled. They decided he was going to be the first to drive it, so he drove the team bus to the training camp to pick all the players up, and he totaled it. He ripped it all aside. Let's go get the train to the away match instead.
Oh man, I bet it was amazing to be around. You know, in the squad, just brilliant.
Yeah, never a dull moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's got to be Putin, hasn't it? You know, it's got to be Putin. Technically, he's not a Soviet leader, but he's probably done more to keep the Soviet Empire together than anyone else did when it actually was the USSR. So he's a strong man. Well, this is a terrible question. When you've got to narrow it down to a sport in one moment, so I can't do that. So I've got a few. So we talked about Gaza. Favourite footballing is Gaza's goal against Scotland at Euro '96. Just everything about that was perfect. I mean, the football speaks for itself. You know, it's just fucking sublime. But the whole kind of media circus around it at the time, the big build up to it, the dentist chair celebration. You know, it was just, you couldn't make it up. It was just absolutely perfect. But also, I was living in Newcastle at the time, so I was watching that in a pub in the big market with 1,000 pistol smokies. And it was just fucking bonkers, you know, absolutely superb. And there's some Scottish people in there as well, so that was even better. So that's my favourite best football moment. 2 cricketing moments. Anything in the Ashes 2005, that was absolutely superb.
One to Giles. Tucked away into the leg side, that's it. Ashley Giles has done it. England have won the match. They've gone home by 3 wickets. The crowd are on their feet. Celebrations start in the dressing room for the first time since 1997. England are in front in an Ashes series.
Free topple over against Ponting at Edgbaston, where he just peppered him with every different type of ball, and I think took the wicket at the end as well. Ben Stokes last year at Headingley, that was just, I mean, that was like the whole country holding its breath, and then just like emotion coming out. That was absolutely superb. Athletics, Super Saturday 2012 Olympics, was actually there for that. I was there in the morning session for Super Saturday. So I saw
Really?
Yeah, that was really good. But so I was in London for the afternoon watching all that in the pub. That was just absolutely amazing.
80,000 ticket holders will be inside the stadium to see Jessica Ennis.
Oh my goodness! Jessica Ennis is the Olympic champion. This is a super duper Saturday. What a night! The greatest night in the history of British athletics.
I love a bit of tennis, and anything Roger Federer does. I think that guy's an absolute genius. He's just like he's like watching poetry in motion.
I think it's effortless with Federer.
Yeah, I mean he's an arrogant bastard, but he can be, can't he?
Yeah. I think. Sorry, go on.
He's kind of achieved a little bit, hasn't he?
I always thought with him and Sampras was similar, the way that they used to make the court look small.
Yeah.
With Sampras, you never seem to be able to get around him, and I think Federer's the same. You just think you've got a shot he's not going to get, and then straight away.
Yeah, and just like, I'm sure he does sweat, but it just doesn't look like he sweats, does he? He's like gliding.
Yeah. So I mean, so you're a big cricket fan then as well?
I like a bit of cricket. I mean, to be honest, if I had to choose between spectator sports, it'd probably be cricket rather than football.
Right.
I think it's just the better metaphor for life, cricket, than football is. Football's kind of those kind of intense moments, but cricket's got more of that kind of undulation, that kind of the warp and the weft of life.
Ooh, that's really lovely. Wow.
Well, so I've approached this not necessarily from the point of view of who are the best players, because I guess that you'll end up with the same bunch, more or less the same bunch all the time if you do that. So I've looked at this from the point of view of a mixture of skill, a mixture of laughs, and a mixture of kind of dedication, a club stalwart sort of approach. And I've also kind of looked at this from the point of view when I first played Monday Night Football and first came along. It was like a fairly fixed group of lads. So I've picked like a selection from there, which just always make me kind of laugh and smile and kind of remember the experience of Monday Night Football. Because in reality, yeah, we all want to win. We all want to play football and demonstrate a bit of skill, score a good goal. But actually, it's all about the laughs, isn't it? It's about just getting there, having a good time, and then maybe a bit pissed off at the end, maybe having an argument, maybe even a fight for some people. I don't know. Ultimately, it's all about that round. So my 7 is in that spirit. So I've gone for Matt, who's obviously a really good player. He's fantastic on the ball. He's got the lowest centre of gravity of anyone I've ever met. It's almost impossible, Matt, isn't it? But he's a good lad. He's a good lad. OB's like the Chris Waddle of Monday Night Football, I think. He's like the Chris Waddle of Monday Night Football, OB. He's got that look about him where he doesn't look like he's an athlete at all. He's not really kind of putting any effort in. But somehow
he's not an athlete.
He's got that kind of racing style almost, He hasn't quite got the mullet, but he's also a very good footballer, isn't he? I mean, he does things where you kind of think, I'm not quite sure how that happened. He's got that little kind of jinky sleight of foot sort of thing. He puts his shoulder down and the whole stadium goes to the right. So yeah, OB, and again, good lad. I've put yourself in there as well, Aaron.
Oh, thank you.
and because you're a long-standing member of the squad, and you got that dedication, I think some days you have a worldie. You just like, consistently, everything you touch turns to gold. You'll spank it in the top corner. You'll save things. You'll beat people. You're just everywhere over the pitch. And then some days you're absolutely fucking shite. Just like terribly, terribly shite. And there's nothing in between. So I like that. That you're not quite sure what you can get with you. But I've always having the team for just that kind of basically. I think it's fair. The good outweighs the bad. I think on balance, you're probably kind of 70-30 in terms of good.
I'd agree with you though. There's games where I play and it's just gone, and I can't do anything about it.
Oh yeah, your head goes. You can see it. It's like you're in a different place. Yeah. What the hell? Get some kind of psychological training or something. Be a better player. Okay, next on the list, I've got perhaps controversial Livewire. I think every team needs kind of an enigma. Someone who no one really knows. He turns up every week. No one's quite sure what his real name is, where he's from, what he does. Never speaks. He's always late. And he looks like he's going to snap at any minute. But this little bastard in the world. He's like a little ratter. He scores goals somehow. I like that about him. Don't know anything about him. He seems like a nice guy, but where is he now? Who knows? Also gone for Will, Big Will. In some ways, the Mark Viduka of Monday night. He's got that kind of corridor of certainty where if you play the ball into him, you're never going to get it off him, and you'll get some value for him. but that corridor of certainty is exactly the same width as him. And anything I forget it, and don't even put through bowling because it's just not going to happen. But if he's on the ball, he's got the hardest shot in the world. You're not going to get the ball to him. He can just rotates on the spot there, and he fucking sprinkles it out and distributes it. And also, I mean, the stories, the fucking story. Mate, he's the guy, and you hear this stuff about him, and you think, fuck's sake, that can't be him. So, yeah, big Will. I mentioned him before, Dan. You've got to have the gaffer in there, just for the controversy and the drama, and the fights. Again, you need that in a football team. And now and again, to be fair to him, now and again he does have a good game, doesn't he? He'll be Johnny on the spot, he'll get a goal. So yeah, big Dan. And then finally, perhaps unsung, I would say, but Sharpie. He's a bloody nice lad. I think he wears his heart on his sleeve. He approaches every game with absolute earnestness, and he wants to do well. He doesn't always do well, but none of us always do well. And again, he's going to make the calls from the reffing side of things, isn't he? So
I think Sharpie's similar to me in that he has those games where it looks like his feet have switched around, and he'll get frustrated with himself, and then he'll try too hard, and it all goes wrong. And what can you do? You turn up the next week, don't you?
Yeah. I think that's, to me, that's like a good cross section of a typical Monday night football team, and you could put another in there and get the same sort of, well, not the same sort of skills, but maybe a different mix of talents, and a good night out, I would say, at Monday night football.